Thank you both for doing this.
Thank you.
I just would like to start because I know I read a little bit about your background beforehand. So just if you guys could just start by talking about like how you brought her on the project, like how the initial collaboration started with you both. That would be lovely.
Okay. I was searching for an actor to play the Jane character for a while. Looking at lots of faces. I had no idea that Dree was even pursuing acting. And her manager, Alan Mindell, reached out to me because he had actually seen the casting call for the role of Sadie and said, "But did you cast for Jane yet?" We said, "No, we're having problems with Jane as well." And then he said, "Well, I have Dree. She's a wonder." She's lightning in a bottle.
My biggest supporter.
And I quickly did my research and watched every interview on YouTube that I could with, that she had conducted regarding her modeling career. I thought she had a really appealing personality. I thought 80% she could probably embody this Jane character. And we got on a Skype video call and spoke for close to an hour in a very casual manner.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the call, I offered her the role.
Really? Just straight up?
Straight up. She was in New York, I was in LA.
I met Boonie on video chat, and Alan ended up sending me the script beforehand, and I instantly fell in love with it, and it was kind of like... it's the best thing as an actor when you can kind of immediately just see yourself falling in and like giving something life to a character. And I was just so like, I need to do this. I could feel it,
And was this like really close to shooting, or like?
It was probably a month and a half out at the most.
Yeah. Which was funny because then right after I found out I got this, I was like, shit, I have to be in LA in August, and I had to move out of my apartment. So I literally a week after knowing when the shoot dates were, was like jumbled everything in my apartment in New York into storage and was like, okay, I'm coming down, great.
Yeah.
It was quite a whirlwind.
There wasn't much time for rehearsing, but we didn't really need it. I got to rehearse with the other actors, but not as much with Dree, and I knew on the first day that we were okay.
Cool. Well, that brings me to my next question, which is, it was said last night that the older or the elderly actress in the film, Besedka, is that who?
Besedka, yeah.
Cool. That she was literally discovered in YMCA by your producer.
Right.
It's a really wonderful story.
Yeah.
So, for both of you, if you guys could just talk about like what the process was of working with her, especially like in rehearsal, and then how that differs from the shoot, and then just really like anyway.
There was dialogue that obviously it was a script, but we said, you can throw this dialogue out the window if you want. You might have to hit this line and this line and this line for exposition reasons, but as long as we get to this place, let's just do it however it flows off the tongue. And you two, these, Besedka and Dree, just...
I think the main thing about it was, like, we had the lines, and we really kind of varied on them and this and that. We wanted to stick true to, Sean's initial vision and stuff like that, but, everything was about being real and stuff like that, and if you're not being present in the moment of what you're doing, then it's not going to come off that way. But everybody, I think it's just all about listening and stuff like that, and Besedka was unreal, and really kind of fed every scene. Just even with her kind of nudges and her facials, and they were just kind of genius. And then James was amazing, and just we had days where we would just improv all day long, and Sean would send us home with homework to kind of research up on something, and James would walk in and just do these rants that were just fucking hilarious, but to the point where you're like, you are psycho and you're so your character, it's unreal.
We did that, the scene where they're smoking weed and playing video games in the beginning of the film on the couch. Yeah, I basically just told everybody, I think I gave little things to everybody to go home with that night. I think I I asked you to look into astrology, but you were like, no, that's not really my character, and you dropped it.
No, I
did
love
you?
that.
Yes, you did.
Yes,
Of course,
I was so good
I'm
at
sorry,
astrology.
you did.
It was like,
you did. Yes.
yes.
And then for James, I said, study up on the art of war. He came back the whole day ready to riff.
Oh my god, but it was just
so
it
was one of those things. There are a few of those scenes in the film in which we just kept an open book about things. And then, of course, there's other scenes such as a lot of the bingo stuff was pretty tightly scripted because we had to. It was crazy. We were shooting. We were shooting at a live bingo hall during the games.
And they called bingo, and we were like, okay, go.
Yeah, we would have to.
Was the person calling out the numbers an actor?
No.
Really?
Everybody
He works
was
there.
all the people in there were just like.
When I have lines?
Oh well, we gave them lines.
Right.
But like we when I found that location, I had looked at 2 other bingo halls. When I found that one, I just called the producers and I said, "There's no reason to look any further." And it was. I'm just remembering this now. Strangely enough, it's located on the same block as the porn studio.
You're just remembering?
Yeah, I'm just because I haven't brought it up, but it's Remit Studios is on one side of the block and the bingo hall on the other side of the block, up in the Chatsworth, California.
It was just like totally relaxed and comfortable and confident. Like it was your first time on set and it was just totally smooth.
I mean,
It's amazing.
unreal. I wasn't there the day that they shot the scene where she was looking for the dog, but apparently it was like, you know.
That was rough. But the thing is, her character, you know, a lot of people have been bringing up Harold and Maude, right? Her character is the antithesis of Maude. But in real life, she's the real Maude. So you can turn around, you can see her right there. She's just smiling away and telling stories. And she is so basically.
But also kind of Maude at the same time. Like there's like that, you know that that's in there.
Yeah, buried. So it was, at least for the first 3/4 of the film, I had to. It was. She was fighting against her own nature, you know, to play this character. I have to say, you know, let's bring the nastiness up 10 degrees now. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because she kept going, I don't want to be mean to you, Dree. And I was like, no, mean is good. Continue. Go.
Yeah.
The overall camera work, I mean, it's one thing is just wonderful. It's like really beautiful. And I was wondering, because in a way it doesn't, certain aesthetic decisions, you wouldn't automatically associate them with the subject matter. So I was wondering kind of how you felt that those choices furthered the narrative and why you made them.
Yeah, I wanted to mix it up this time. My last 2 films were way more docu-style, handheld. Takeout having absolutely not one lockdown shot. Prince of Broadway having a few scattered throughout. And in this time doing a much more, almost like 50-50. And it's just because, you know, it was, we were also shooting with in scope this time around, and I wanted to use the framing, the aspect ratio to really absorb the environment of the valley. So Radium Cheun is my DP. We really, you know, spent more time to find nicely composed shots, or I hope they're nicely composed. But like just. You know, the locations were great as well. We found ourselves always under these electric lines, no matter where we were in the valley. So we actually worked it into the film where we felt we wanted to have those present all the time, and just using those to actually, you know, dictate our frame was a big part of it.
For both of you, just can you walk me through like what the rehearsal process was like and how that differed from how you directed Dree and the other actors?
The nice thing is that, you know, Sean was very, like, if something didn't feel right, we'd, like, discuss something in the lines or something like this, and it was all very much a really amazing collaboration, but I was always very honest, like, I wanted always Sean's feedback on if, like, I'm somebody who, if I suck, please tell, you're fucking awful. Sorry, I suck. Okay, great. Cheers. But yeah, it was like, does this work? Is
Yeah,
this
it was
what
very
you want? Is this
collaborative.
the energy that you want? And is this, yeah, I don't know.
It was very collaborative, and I would turn to Dree often and ask what she thought of a certain line and what she thought of a certain arc in a scene. But eventually, she was so in tune with the character that she saved my ass a couple of times.
One thing you talked about last night is, interestingly, there's kind of two separate stories, which...
Yes.
So what was the kind of process that you went through where you realized that you could marry them and how they became integrated?
I usually pair myself with somebody who's a little more commercial minded because I lean towards going, very, the first concept. This originally was going to be a small verite film that followed a girl around one day in the life of a starlet who wasn't working on that particular day, and the big drama in the movie is where she loses her dog and then finds it. That's the whole movie.
That would have been quite an easy movie.
Hey, it would have been much easier for us. So Chris Bergoch, my co-writer, knew about this other treatment that I had called bric-a-brac, which was about the finding of the money and the befriending of the older woman, and he suggested we combine the two, and I loved the idea. I loved it. And it was the same thing that happened with Prince in a way. It was like exploring a different world, but instead of just documenting it and exploring it, giving a story to that world, I found that, I keep thinking that if Hollywood made this movie, Jane would be a student or a barista or something like that, but we want to give the same story to somebody who normally wouldn't be given that.
For each of you, I was just curious, the subject matter being what it is, just what research you did and kind of how you engulfed yourself in the world.
Jane's character wasn't completely a porn star quite yet, so I think that her being a bit naive was quite good for the film. And as we progressed in filming, Jane was discovering more, as was I. And being around the porn stars that were in the scenes with us and stuff like that, when the porn stars come out of my bedroom when James is doing what is it, POV BJ, and that was my first, these girls are coming out and I'm shocked, trying to, can I get pictures of them? But it was all kind of the same thing. How would I feel if that was happening to me as a person? So less so me doing research in that, and I kind of liked having the discovery of throughout making the film of different things. I mean, I tried to open myself off and up and watch different kinds of porn and stuff like that. And I think Zoe was my biggest help because she was one person I felt comfortable enough to just kind of go out there and ask questions. And just,
Can you say who that is?
Zoe Voss.
Zoe Voss, my body double, and complete sweetheart. And so willing to share anything, and just the kindest person. Unbelievable. And then where Melissa, or Stella's character, completely kind of dove in and was hanging out with every porn star, picking them up, going to meet them at work, going to porn conventions, completely turned into that. We were like, who is this girl? Until after the movie, I was like, oh my god, you're not that person at all. Slightly confused.
Yeah, we had many consultants on the film, not just Zoe Voss, Tanner Mays, who actually had a whole meltdown caught on camera in which she went through a porn company throwing out her computer monitors. We asked her whether we could actually recreate that scene. She's changed now. She's
so sweet.
She's great. She had that rough period in her life, but she's out of it, and now she allowed us to sort of to give that aspect to the Melissa character.
I mean, we are also shooting in this male porn star and his porn star girlfriend's house, and we are around them from day one. So if you're not picking something up, then you're blind a little bit.
We made sure that we were shooting in real model houses both houses were actual houses. The Renegade Studios was actually New Sensations. Exotica was a real Exotica convention. So we always tried to get, just in case there was a vibe there that would somehow translate.
Well, it was
to
just throwing in that documentary style. Of
blurring the line.
Yeah. But done so well to the point where it could have been.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we just happened to, we actually went to a few sets. We went to talent testing where she gets her blood work in the beginning.
I got my blood taken, for real?
And it was just one of those, lots of happy accidents on this set. We Manuel Ferrara, who was basically one of the number one porn stars, male performers, was walking out when we were walking in, and we said, Manuel, and he's like, yeah, and you want to be in our film? And he's like, yeah, and can you get Asa Akira, who's also number one? And he's like, yeah, sure. So it just seemed like the whole world sort of was opening up. Their world was, they were opening up to us and allowing us.
And the nice thing is that of discovering, I think, about that, like meeting Manuel, who has like the most beautiful children, and this like Native American wife who's like gorgeous and lives in this like great house, and she's like a mom, and everything's very, very cookie cutter normal. With like side note that he goes to set and has sex.
Right.
I think it's, I don't know.
It was fascinating. I think that fascination, that intrigue is what led to this project in the beginning.
I think it's different for men though. But
Maybe.
I think that's a great note. All right, well, thank you guys
there you go,
very much.
and scene. Great.